Welcome to Social Media Fridays. Each week we meet to wind down and talk about what happened in the world of social media in the past week. We add topics of interest to the Social Media Fridays community. You can too. And then we meet to discuss them. And to discuss them today, we have Edwin Jonk, CEO of IDES Hosts in the Netherlands, IDESTHOST.nl, and wasaweb.net is the website of Masataki Wasa. He is a Google top contributor on the AdSense and also on the Google Plus help community. You'll find Masataki at wasaweb.net, wasaweb.net. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Our first topic, we've only got 3 topics today. Our first is Facebook taking on YouTube with a Facebook featured video section for business pages. Maybe we should look at that for DeMesilla Questions and Social Media Fridays, Mr. Young.
Maybe we should.
Will we give it a try? Has anybody had time to look at this article?
No. But from memory, I think a couple of weeks ago, YouTube or Facebook changed its settings from to autoplay. I'm pretty sure advertisers could use that to push out their videos. Right, the videos in the posts.
How would that work in actual practice? So each week I download the MP4 from YouTube and re-upload it to SoundCloud as an audio file. Would it be the same? We use the MP4 we've downloaded for SoundCloud to upload to Facebook? Is that how it would work?
I have no clue.
Well, yeah, we'll try it.
Yeah, the article you've linked is essentially 3 paragraphs long, and it's bits in on the details, as it were. So it's hard to comment, but it is interesting to see that Facebook is now willing, or feels that it has to have its own sort of video and YouTube-like, essentially, service.
Well,
they are all doing something with video. Twitter has Fine. Maybe some licensing is going out of patent, or I don't know. Video seems to be hot these days.
Well, I mean, what we do with YouTube and Google Plus is just amazing. And I mean, I just can't believe we are nearly up to 250,000 viewed minutes, a 250,000 viewed minutes. You know, can you imagine how long a single person would have to sit down to watch for 250,000 viewed minutes? I'm not sure how long that is, but it's a bloody long time. So, and also our clips go out on Twitter. Is there something else in Twitter that we should be taking advantage of?
Well, with regard to video, it's only Vine. So
We have to condense everything into 6 seconds.
Something like that, yes.
Well, given that our clips are 4 hours long, I can't imagine that we'll have much success pumping out vines. Also, I think vines are the lamest form of communication out there. Well, I mean, I don't know about you. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe it's just a function of my mediocrity. But I think that you know, I mean, vines just leave me cold. I mean, they're just. I mean, mainly that they are kids hurting each other. I mean, there's a lot of merit in that, but you know, it doesn't really entertain me.
I think the interesting thing is that Twitter and Vine, sort of Twitter sphere, is very much how could I put it? Restricted in a sense that there are clearly restrictions as to how many characters you can use in a tweet, how many seconds of videos you can upload. It's a very time not sensitive, that wouldn't be the right word, but it's constrained by time and space in a way that other platforms aren't. So I think at some point in the past, in the recent past, as it were, people were looking into that sort of immediate communications, making sure that things are nice, short, and snappy. But perhaps there is now a move away from that. So Facebook can cater for that, for example. So can Google+. You can have long messages. You can have long videos, more substantial communication. Whereas Twitter is going to be forever limited by its self-imposed restrictions. I shouldn't have said forever, but it's their main distinguishing factor, which now may be restricting its potential now.
Yeah, I found a post on our community, Social Media Friday, on Google+. On September the 16th, Tony McCreed posted an article about media.fb.com. And basically there was Facebook announcing much more than just video for publishers. So for long podcasts or podcast, people could upload that and market it on Facebook. So I think it was just a matter of time before we saw something from Facebook do more with video.
Do you think then this is a part of a conscious effort by Facebook to make sure that people stay within Facebook? The end of partnership with Bing, for example, might be another expression of that, in that they want to make sure that everything that people may wish to do can be found within Facebook.
Yeah, or at least an alternative to YouTube. Right? Every time somebody clicks on a YouTube video, they might leave Facebook. So if you embed it within the Facebook platform, they stay on Facebook. So makes sense, no?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly does. Well, I think that we should take advantage of this, Edwin. If I mean, there are people on Facebook that will never join Google Plus, just as there are people on Google Plus who will never join Facebook, me being one of them. But you know, having said that, it's a segment that if there's a means to approach a segment that we're not covering, we should take advantage of it, surely.
Yeah, yeah. Let's play with it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Will we move on from this one? I'm going to record that as a yes. And now we have one posted by Masataki Wasa. I can see now why Masataki was interested in it. The headline contains a word I haven't come across before, sextortion. And it was a quote from the BBC News, men fall victim to online sextortion. Masataki Wasa said, why would a random attractive young lady want to be friends with you? It happens, Masataki. And why would she ask you to remove your clothes? That doesn't happen so often. It's easy to be somewhat snide towards the victims, and for that reason I suspect many victims are ashamed to come forward. Embarrassed more than ashamed, I guess. I wonder how large a market these blackmailers have created. And it has a link which you can find if you're following along at home that you'll find on the Social Media Fridays community on Google+, a link to the BBC article. There's a lot of this. I tell you, I've also noticed an increase in online blackmail with the crypto locker. A lot of effort's being put into. Have you heard of the crypto locker, guys? This is a Trojan that a user voluntarily runs. Therefore, it bypasses the spam filter and the virus control. They do it by sending, say, an advice from freight forwarders or from a bank or from an online store, say Amazon or whatever. And to all intents and purposes, it's a phishing email. People click on it, try to open the order of their product arriving or the deposit that's been made into their bank account, or a post office delivery which wasn't delivered, and you can pick up from the post office. Click here to get your voucher for authorization, that sort of thing. Things which catch people out fairly regularly, and certainly a number of our clients got caught this week. It's called a crypto locker, and what they do is they remove all the restore points from the machine. They lock the machine down, and then blackmail the user into paying to get back their data. And particularly
it's a ransom Trojan, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, according to Wikipedia, it uses RSA to encrypt basically the hard drives, and they contact you and say, if you want your data back, you have to pay us or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we figured, well, when I say we, Bernard Mangelsdorf, who works with us at the Ausbiz Web Group, he came up with a way to do it, and using directory services restore mode, he restored the overuse of words, but he restored the restore points, and from that point you can then restore the files after using directory services restore mode. You can then restore the files from the restore points to get back control of the machine. But it's not easy, and most people don't know how to do it. So I'd like to thank the Crypto Locker people for contributing to our revenue this year. Very grateful. And I'd just like to point out to anyone following along at home to be very careful, because these guys are putting more and more effort into this. They are making so much money out of it, and most times people are just happy to pay to get their machine back because of the threat that if they use somebody like us to recover their machine, they threaten to wipe out all the data. I mean, it's a lie, of course, but they can't do that. But most people are, quite often we come across a client who's already paid, and there's not much we can do about it. Yeah. It's very strong here in Australia, just currently. What's it like in Europe, guys?
Similar.
It's coming out of the Eastern Bloc countries, the countries formerly in the Soviet Union. We should bring Tim Kappa in to investigate for us. All right, so we'll move on from sextortion. We got sidetracked, didn't we? Because this is really a different form of blackmail. This is where good-looking gals are encouraging people to record themselves on video without any clothes on, and then they're using those recordings to blackmail the victims into paying up. I don't think they'd catch me. Been a long time since any lady asked me to remove anything item of clothing. All right, let's move on to the next. Unfortunately, we what's going on? We must have this one double. We'll click it again. This is an interesting one. Instagram makes teens and celebrities angry by killing millions of spam bots. One user of Instagram who had 1.6 million followers, which was reduced to around 100,000 genuine, deleted his Instagram account after free falling from 1.6 million to around 100K. It's fairly widespread. This was posted by our friend Bernd Rebel. It's poetic justice, I think, for me anyway. These people that buy followers and so on. I mean, it's rife on Twitter, rife on LinkedIn. It's rife on Google Plus. It's very sad, really, that people are doing it and paying it and so on. But it's nice to see these companies slowly wanting to clean up their act and get rid of this crap out of the system and stop people taking unfair advantage. I think so, anyway. What do you guys think?
I think it is a good move for any social media to get rid of the spam bots.
It makes sense. Yeah. The question is how many false positives were there. You don't, as a social media platform, you don't really want to delete someone's account as spam when they were not, when they were genuine users. So there's always a risk of that. That's one issue. But I think it does make sense to take a hard line against spam accounts. And it's a good thing because I think there had been, how could I put it, somewhat of a conflict in that any social media platform would like to have as many users as possible because there is a sort of competition, and that comes down to the numbers, whether that's measured in terms of monthly active users, daily active users, etc. So even though there may be spam, they make the figures look better and bigger. And
Yes, you have to think what Instagram was doing the last couple of years, because the impact is so huge, right?
yeah, so I think, I don't know, my feeling is that sort of things like Facebook and Google Plus have been trying to take down spam for quite a while, and have been doing so. So, Facebook is well aware of the fake profiles that are giving fake likes to businesses, for example. So I think they've been aware of the issue, and they have been taking measures against spam accounts, fake accounts. Perhaps Instagram sort of finally caught up and then really did a clean flush, as it were, of the spam accounts.
And Mace was that was a rapper or an artist. He was trying to come back to the top 40, so maybe he built a few followers.
Yeah, I mean, that's another issue, isn't it? Because it's going to turn people off the net platforms when when people think that, oh, I've interacted with people, I've been posting interesting stuff, therefore people are following me, and then one day you suddenly see the figures falling to nothing. I mean, that's not going to play well with people. And you could, I mean, if you're so inclined in being a nasty person, you could, knowing the purchase fake likes and fake things to your competitors. I think I've seen that done on Twitter, for example, where people will buy Twitter followers, fake Twitter followers to competition. Twitter follower number goes up, and then I think Twitter does take action on fake accounts quite vigorously, so it just drops again, and then that makes it look as though the competitor was involved in something shady.
Okay, so have we covered this one?
Yes.
All right. Well, look, that one, if I click the button this time, it says thank you for watching. But before we go, I'd like to talk about DeMesilla Questions operating last night, and with a great turn-up of panelists on Christmas Day. I think that we proved something last night, and I think what we proved is that no matter what happens, DeMesilla Questions has a life. We have a group of people who are committed to providing quality answers to people who are asking for assistance. And it doesn't matter if I die or whatever, DeMesilla Questions will live on. I'm greatly encouraged by what happened yesterday. That was spontaneous. We didn't even think we'd run on Christmas Day, but we did, and I thought it was a fantastic hangout. Let me just say this, that some of those questions asked were very basic, and yet those people were treated with a great respect and given exactly the information that they required to move on to the next level. We had one user who asked 5 questions. I thought that was a great conversation. I learned a little myself from it. I don't know. I came away from last night, and I was very tired last night. Really tired. I was tired before we started. It's been a hectic Christmas, but you know, I came away from last night's hangout greatly encouraged. I really felt that we'd achieved something. What do you guys think?
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, and that's the important thing, isn't it? That we enjoy it.
Oh,
Why do we enjoy it?
well, did you saw all the comments in the group chat from Mastake?
Well, yes, I did. I wonder why your screen is not updating, Edwin. Your screen. I wonder why that's happening.
Oh, now it is.
Oh no, I changed that to see if when I turn it back on again, you'll still be displaying the last question. Yeah, you are.
Oh, I am.
I wonder why that is. We have a bug. Well, we'll have to fix that. I'll remember that one. Anyway, I guess we're at the end of another session. Hang on, I'll see if I can contact Tim Capper and see him to come along. Tim Capper. Who else should I invite? What about Max Minter? Don't get too excited, guys.
Well, do you want it live or offline? Offline. In the green room.
Let's see if Max is around. What about John Mueller? Gary Illies. Let's see if Gary Illies is around. Look, I better not. I mean, I probably would if I was sober, but you know, Christmas being Christmas, I'm probably labouring under a handicap. Okay, so I've invited Tim Capper. We're moving to Green Room now. I can see that you're still watching, and I'd like to thank you very, very much. Your participation in being interested in what we do makes what we do worthwhile, and for that we are really thankful. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again. Please be aware that you can post items of interest in the Social Media Fridays community, and we'll discuss them next week.